My name is Crystal Petrie, and you are watching the Crystal Petrie Consulting Network. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today we're going to talk about why diversity and inclusion should be a priority, not just for me, not just for you, but for everyone. I'm going to start this video off with a quick story. So I was doing a training on executive board diversity and inclusion. I was speaking to the president and she was asking great questions, and I was giving her great feedback and great information back. And as we were talking, she started saying African American, check, Hispanic, check, male, check. And so by the third check, I interrupted her and I said, "What are you doing?" She was like, "Oh, I'm going down the list and I'm just checking off who I have on my executive board. So I have an African American on my board, check. I have a Hispanic person on my board, check. And I have a male on my board, check. But I don't have an Asian person on my board." To which I followed by saying, having a diverse and inclusive executive board is not a checkbox system. It's not something that you can just check off and say, "Oh, I have this person. Oh, I have that person." What you want on your board, what you want in your volunteer pool, what you want in your service organization are the best people. And the best people are diverse. The best people are inclusive. And if you want the best people on your board, the best people volunteering for your organization, the best people working for your organization, then diversity and inclusion has to be a priority. It has to be ongoing. It has to be something that you intentionally do every single day. Recruiting for diversity, recruiting for inclusion is not something that you do one day and say, "I tried," or 2 days in a row and say, "I tried," or put it on your books to do once a month or once a week. Recruiting for diversity and inclusion must be something that's done every single day. It has to be a priority. It has to become habitual. We have to do it so much that eventually we stop realizing that we're doing it. We have to recruit for diversity and inclusion in our workspaces, in our volunteer spaces, in our service spaces so much that we don't even realize we're doing it. Just like breathing. We don't even realize that we're breathing, but we do it every single day. It's habitual and it's a priority and it's ongoing. The same has to become true when you recruit for diversity and inclusion in whatever space that you are in. Mary Dole says, building a strong, diverse volunteer program that mirrors your community will mean your organization is much better placed to reach people who need or would value your services. As our communities become more diverse, we need to realize that there are benefits to reflecting these changes and disadvantages to not. Dole says you can't serve your clients in the most effective manner if you don't represent them. You have to represent the community that you are in. You have to represent the community that you serve and the community that you want to serve. And that all starts with recruiting for diversity, recruiting for inclusion, and making it a priority. Now, as I sit here or stand here and talk about making diversity and inclusion habitual, I want to be honest with you. And I'm going to use a quote by President Barack Obama to be honest with you. He says, "Whatever you do, will never be enough. But try anyway. And the reason I wanted to be bold with you about that and honest with you about that, because when we are talking about the space of volunteering or the space of service, that word volunteer was introduced to us over 390 years ago. And during that time, and for several hundred years after that, volunteering service was only made available to Caucasian people. The space, the opportunity was only there for Caucasian people. So people of color were never invited to volunteer. People of color were not invited for service. Special needs people with disabilities were not invited for volunteerism. People with mental health issues were not made to feel welcomed when it came to service. So, for over 300 years, people of color were not invited. People with special needs and disabilities were not invited. So when I say whatever you do today will never be enough, but try anyway, it's up to us to try. It's up to us to make the space of volunteerism, the space of service, the space at the table, the space in leadership available for diversity and available for inclusion. And if we try and make it a priority, then the next generation will continue to try and will continue to make it a priority. And then the next generation will continue to try and will continue to make it a priority. But it has to start somewhere. And why not start with you? Why not start with me? So that the next generation can pick up that baton and continue the race. I'm going to wrap up this video with another quote from President Barack Obama, who sums up diversity and the importance of inclusion so well. He says, "To be known, to be heard, to have one's unique identity recognized and seen as worthy. It is a universal human desire." That quote means diversity and inclusion is a universal human desire. So every person walking this planet wants to be recognized. Every person wants to be seen as value. Every person wants to be seen. Every person wants to be heard. It's a universal human desire. Diversity and inclusion is a universal human desire. But it's up to me and it's up to you to make it a priority, to make it a habit, to try anyway. Thank you so much for watching my video today. Stay social with me by subscribing to my channel, the Crystal Petrie Consulting Network, liking this video, and dropping a comment down below.